Ohio State had their spring game yesterday, and sure, it was a spring game. Yeah, a lot of it was thud tempo. And maybe it wasn't live tackle to the ground, but it was level 11 football, and it was beautiful, it was glorious, and it made us feel just a little bit like we were back in college football season. What are our takeaways? What can we unpack as it pertains to the quarterback battle, the rest of the roster? We'll do that right now, but if you're an Ohio State fan and you want to see more Ohio State content on the On3 YouTube channel from this show, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button, because when you do that, it tells us, hey, we have some demand. Go ahead and supply that. Demand, supply, we'll get you some more Ohio State content. We appreciate you in advance for letting us know via that subscribe button. Let's start with the quarterbacks. Lincoln Kienholz had a good day. I want to say that at the top. Julian Sayin had a day that makes you say, hey, he might in fact be the guy. Like the car that is the Ohio State offense just has the most giddy up and go when number 10 is behind center pulling the trigger. Unofficially finished the day at 17 for 24, $175 and a touchdown. The touchdown was nice too. Little layer down the middle of the field to Max Clare. More on him in a second. You see what the offense can be with Julian Sayin. And the question isn't so much how talented is he and what can he do for you at Ohio State when he's firing all cylinders. The question is, can he do it consistently? That's kind of been the story of the spring. Now, if you're an Ohio State fan, you feel good that Julian Sayin had a really good day at, let's call a spade here, probably the highest stakes situation of the spring game because you're on national television and you got a bunch of people packed in the shoe. So that makes you feel good. But the question is, can he be the same guy every single week? That's what it takes for Ohio State at the quarterback position. Like you got Texas week 1. You can't have an off day, a random Saturday in October. You got to be on all the time. So Julian Sayin, my feel on this is he's still going to be your starting quarterback come game 1. I think that as time goes on, the light bulb will eventually come on for him and stay on. But speaking of Lincoln Kienholz, I don't want to dismiss him in this battle. Like I mentioned, 12 for 18, good day, kind of overshadowed in some ways, I think, from what Julian Sayin did during that spring game. But I think we also have to remember now, Lincoln Kienholz, what separates him from a Julian Sayin is what he does with his legs. Now, when you're wearing a non-contact jersey during a spring game, you're not really able to strut your stuff quite as much. So Lincoln Kienholz has been, I think, throughout the spring, if I'm reading this correctly, the most consistent. But the top-end talent from Julian Sayin is what really gets you fired up here. Going back to Sayin, I wasn't just impressed with how he ran the offense because he showed some poise. He showed kind of that quarterback presence that you want to see whenever you're the trigger puller at Ohio State, which is arguably one of the more, if not the most high-profile position in the sport. He made a lot of different kinds of throws, which I think should excite you if you're a Buckeye fan. I mentioned the layer down the seam to Clare. You had a shot he ripped over the middle on a dig route. You had just a bunch of different passes from him, which is what great quarterbacks are able to do. They got a bunch of different speeds on the ball they can throw. So something you're going to have at Ohio State with your quarterback, something Julian Sayin presented for you, especially with what this wide receiver room is going to bring to the table. Now, I don't think there's a lot of new things you learn about a Jeremiah Smith during the spring game or a Carnell Tate during the spring game. Who impressed me during the spring game was Mylan Graham. Mylan Graham, I don't know where he fits in exactly on this depth chart. This is how I look at the Ohio State wide receiver room. You have wide receiver 1, that is Jeremiah Smith. Outside of that, you have wide receiver, another one. Wide receiver, another one, Brandon Ennis. Wide receiver, another one, Carnell Tate. Wide receiver, another one, Mylan Graham had a big day at the office. Had a nice touchdown he caught from Lincoln Kienholz on a catch and run. Caught it over the middle, hit the gas, and went all the way to the crib. Also could have had another touchdown. Julian Sayin threw one his way that was just a little bit out of reach. So Julian Sayin still not a finished product, like we said before. I mean, this wide receiver room is loaded. You already knew that. But to see Mylan Graham making some plays, it just speaks to how stacked they are. Max Clare is a transfer tight end from Purdue. He is a piece of this puzzle that is going to even further unlock what the Ohio State offense can be. And Jake Butt was on the call yesterday for the Ohio State spring game. Michigan man calling the Ohio State spring game. I don't know how Buckeye fans felt about that, but it is what it is. Thought he made a really great point when discussing how he's going to impact how defenses have to play Ohio State. Because of the weapons that you have on the outside, you have to have, more often than not, 2 safeties high. When you do that, that leaves the middle of the field a little bit more exposed. When the middle of the field is exposed, it leaves a guy like Max Clare some potential to do what he did yesterday, which we've said now for the 3rd time throughout this segment. Nice touchdown catch, great throw from Sayin, middle of the field. Dude's 6'4", 235, and can run. That's different. Very, very different. You pair that with Jelani Thurman, like they're going to be in a really good spot next year at the tight end position. I think and maybe in a different spot than they've been here over the course of the last couple of years, just based on what he brings to the table from a skill set perspective. Running back room, I get it's a spring game, so you're not getting the same look you would get from a defense, but I think that's a really high floor kind of group, which we've heard about most of the spring. James Peoples, you feel like you know what you have in him. C.J. Donaldson, transferring over from West Virginia, lost a few pounds. He looked good getting downhill, man. I was really impressed with him. Bo Jackson, freshman back from them, had some pop. The defense was very vanilla, playing a lot of base coverage, a lot of base looks. Linebackers look good. I mean, Peyton Pierce has flashed like he has all spring. You saw it in the spring game. Sonny Styles, I think, might be the best linebacker in America when it's all said and done next year. When we get out of spring, though, for Ohio State, as you close the book on that, this is the same sentiment we've held on our show throughout the course of spring practice for Ohio State, but I just want to make sure we leave you with this. This is a go-get-it kind of year for Ohio State. And what I mean by that is your roster is still good enough to go win a national championship. Now, is it as ready-made as it was last year with an experienced guy in Will Howard and your running back room being the best in America? Like, not necessarily, but there's still the pieces internally for Ohio State to go win the whole darn thing. What's going to make the difference is, are they able to mature enough as a team with some of these young guys to figure out how to win in those big spots, to win in the college football playoff and so on and so forth? And also, are they able to have that same intensity and root out the complacency that is just human nature to show up after you win a national championship? Because they got the chops. Do they have the engine? That's what I'm curious to see, and that's what's going to make the difference. But again, Julian Sayin, probably the storyline of the spring game. I think he will be your starter. But as long as this battle progresses, I think it's going to service the team well. I think it's going to ultimately help, again, root out that complacency that we speak to. But this thing is not going to be decided, I don't believe, until middle of August per par for the course for Ryan Day. So again, Buckeye fans, subscribe to the channel. Let me know who you think will start game one for your Ohio State Buckeyes against Texas at quarterback. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We will keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.